Right at this very moment, inside your body, a decision is being made, not by you, by your cells. Every single minute, thousands of them face the same choice: repair, divide, or become something dangerous. For most adults over 60, that decision is tilting the wrong way. And the most terrifying part, you will not feel it happening. Not today, not tomorrow, not until a tumor has already doubled, not until a routine scan reveals something that was forming for years. By the time your body speaks, the damage may already be written. But what if a single seed, smaller than a grain of rice, has been proven in over 2,000 studies to tilt that decision back in your favor? Research showing a threefold increase in the very cells that rebuild your body. Research showing this seed can starve tumors, cut their blood supply, trigger their self-destruction. This seed has been sitting in your grocery store for decades. You have walked past it 100 times, and after today, you will never see it the same way again. Quick thing before I continue. How old are you right now? Type your age in the comments. I read every single one. I have seen a pattern over the years, and I want to share it with you. It takes 2 seconds. Do it now. All right, let me tell you why this matters. Because if this seed does what the published research says it does, why have you never heard about it from your oncologist? Here is the truth, and it is uncomfortable. Part 1 is money. A seed cannot be patented. When researchers at the National Institutes of Health began publishing serious data on the compound inside this seed, pharmaceutical companies had no way to own it, no way to monetize it, no incentive to fund large-scale clinical trials. Without those trials, it never makes it into the standard treatment guidelines. Without guidelines, your doctor cannot recommend it, even if they wanted to. Part 2 is older than money. It is dismissal. This seed has been used medically for over 3,300 years. It was found buried in the tomb of King Tutankhamun. It appears in ancient Islamic medical texts, in Ayurvedic scrolls, in Greco-Roman writings. And for a long time, that ancient association made modern researchers dismiss it. They called it folklore. Then the studies started piling up, and folklore became pharmacology. Notice something important here. I am not blaming your oncologist. Your oncologist has 7 minutes with you, maybe 10 on a good day. They did not choose the system. The system was built around drugs that can be patented, around treatments that generate revenue. A cheap seed from the spice aisle simply does not fit the model. That is not your doctor's fault, but it is your problem. And it is why I am telling you this today. Now I want you to meet Margaret. Her story represents a pattern I have seen dozens of times over the years in my practice. Key details have been changed to protect her privacy. Margaret is 71, a retired oncology nurse. She spent 32 years at a major cancer center in the Midwest. She held the hands of thousands of patients as they walked into chemotherapy. She watched some of them walk out, and she watched too many of them not walk out at all. 18 months before I met her, Margaret became a patient herself. Stage 2 colorectal cancer. She underwent surgery, 6 cycles of chemotherapy. She lost her hair, she lost 30 pounds, she lost her sense of taste for almost a year, and she survived. At her 18-month follow-up, her scans were clean. Her numbers looked good. Her oncologist, a decent man she had worked alongside for a decade, smiled and said what all oncologists say: live your life, hope for the best, come back in 6 months. Picture her sitting across from him, her hands folded in her lap, her jaw tight. 32 years of watching cancer kill people. And his advice to her was, hope. She told me later, and I will never forget this. She said, Dr. Liana, I did not survive just so I could wait for it to come back. That sentence. That is why I am telling you this today. Hi, I am Dr. Liana, emergency medicine physician, cancer biology researcher. For nearly 3 decades, I have watched patients fight diseases that, in many cases, their own biology was already equipped to fight. Early in my career, I was trained to look for drugs, procedures, interventions. That is medicine's default language. But what changed me was not a conference or a textbook. It was a pattern I kept seeing. Patients who were outliving their prognosis, not because of what they received inside the hospital, because of something they were doing quietly at home. When I started tracing those patterns back, I kept landing on the same cluster of compounds, and one of the most consistent ones was something I had never been taught in medical school. That is what this video is about. Here is what you will get today. The name of this forgotten seed, the specific molecule inside it, exactly how your stem cells work and why a threefold increase is not just a number. 3 biological pathways this compound uses against cancer. 5 specific research studies, an exact daily protocol with doses, timing, preparation methods, and critically, who should not take this, and when to stop immediately. That last part matters more than the rest. Credibility lives there. Before I continue, now, if this kind of evidence-based content is something you want more of, just hit the like button. It costs you nothing, but it tells the algorithm to show this to someone who needs it. Maybe someone like Margaret, waiting for a second opinion that will never come from a 7-minute appointment. Okay, let me reveal the seed. It is called Nigella Sativa. You may know it as black seed, black cumin, or kalonji. It is a small, jet black seed, about the size of a sesame seed. It grows on a flowering plant native to Southwest Asia and the Mediterranean. For thousands of years, this seed was considered close to a universal medicine. But none of that is why I brought you here today. I brought you here because one compound inside it, called thymoquinone, has been the subject of over 2,000 peer-reviewed studies, published in journals like Cancer Letters, Phytomedicine, the Journal of Ethnopharmacology, OncoTarget, and what those studies have found is not folklore. It is reproducible, measurable, biology. Stop and think about that for a second. 2,000 studies, sitting in medical databases, unread by most practicing physicians. Now, before I show you the science, let me tell you why Margaret kept coming back to these papers. Because she wanted agency. She did not want to wait. She did not want to hope. She wanted something to do. And that is a feeling I think a lot of you watching understand right now. Let me walk you through what thymoquinone actually does inside your body. I am going to use metaphors because the biology is complex. But every metaphor I use has a real mechanism underneath it. Here is the first piece. Stop me if you have heard the term stem cell before. It gets thrown around a lot, rarely explained. Your stem cells are not a luxury. They are your body's entire repair department. Every time your liver takes a hit from medication, stem cells rebuild it. Every time your gut lining gets damaged, stem cells renew it. Every time your bone marrow needs to produce fresh immune cells, it is stem cells doing that work. Think of it like a city. Every building needs maintenance. Every road needs patching. Your stem cells are the construction crews doing that work invisibly, every single minute, for your entire life. Here is the problem. Beginning in your mid-30s, those crews start retiring, and nobody is training replacements. By the time you hit 60, your hematopoietic stem cell activity, the cells that rebuild your blood and immune system, may be operating at a fraction of what it was at 25. Imagine a city where half the construction crews have retired, and nobody replaced them. At first, you would not notice. But then, roads develop potholes, buildings show cracks, the whole infrastructure starts to slowly degrade. That is what happens inside you, not from one catastrophic event, from the quiet accumulation of unrepaired damage. This is where thymoquinone enters. A landmark study published in the journal Phytomedicine measured what happened when human bone marrow cells were treated with thymoquinone. Researchers used a technique that lets them count individual cell populations with extraordinary precision. They found that stem cell colonies increased by approximately 300% compared to untreated controls. 300%. Let that sink in. 300%. Now I need to be crystal clear about something important. This measurement was taken in a laboratory dish, not inside a living human body. The science is still working to translate this into human trials at scale. But the direction is what matters here. Because those stem cells were not just multiplying, they were showing reduced markers of aging, meaning the new cells being produced were younger in function, less damaged, more capable of rebuilding what your body needs rebuilt. Now let me bring Margaret back into this. Remember her, 71, retired oncology nurse, sitting in her oncologist's office being told to live her life in hope. 2 weeks after that appointment, Margaret called an old colleague, a research pharmacologist she had worked with years earlier, and she asked him one question: "What are you reading right now that oncologists are not talking about?" He emailed her 3 papers. Every single one of them was about thymoquinone. Margaret spent the next 2 weeks reading those papers at her kitchen table, highlighting in yellow, taking notes on a legal pad. The nurse in her came back alive, and what she found was not just one mechanism against cancer. It was 3. Let me show you each one, because this is the part your oncologist probably did not have time to explain. Pathway 1. Starvation. A tumor cannot grow without food, and cancer's food source is your blood. To pull blood toward itself, a tumor secretes a chemical signal. Think of it as a flare. The flare essentially commands your body to build new blood vessels toward the tumor. Without those vessels, a solid tumor cannot grow beyond about 2 millimeters, smaller than the tip of a pencil. With them, it can expand to life-threatening size within weeks. Now here is what thymoquinone does. In study after study, it has been shown to suppress this flare, to block the construction orders before new vessels can form. The tumor sends its call for reinforcements, and the call gets intercepted. Think of it like a cancer cell sending an order to a supply truck. The supply truck never gets the order. The tumor starves. Pathway 2. The reset button. Every healthy cell in your body carries a self-destruction mechanism. It is called apoptosis. When a cell becomes damaged or abnormal, this mechanism is supposed to activate. The cell disassembles itself safely. No harm done. Cancer cells have learned how to disable this button. That is one of the main ways they become immortal. But thymoquinone appears to reactivate that button, specifically in malignant cells. Stop and really think about what that means. A natural compound that can find the broken self-destruct switch inside a cancer cell and press it. What makes this remarkable is that in multiple studies comparing cancer cells to healthy cells, treated with the same concentration, cancer cells showed dramatically higher rates of death, while the healthy cells remained largely unaffected. It is not destroying everything in its path. It appears to recognize the difference between what belongs and what does not. Pathway 3. Lifting the camouflage. Here is something most people do not know about cancer. Cancer creates its own protective environment. It sends out signals that essentially tell your immune system, "Nothing suspicious here. Move along." This camouflage is how tumors hide in plain sight. Thymoquinone is one of the most potent natural substances identified in published research for disabling this camouflage. When the camouflage drops, your immune system sees the tumor clearly, and it does what your immune system was designed to do. Now I want you to imagine Margaret sitting at her kitchen table reading this, 32 years of nursing experience, watching cancer kill people, and here in her hand, 3 mechanisms she had never been taught about. From over 2,000 peer-reviewed studies, she looked at her husband that night and said, "I have something to try." Before I walk you through the exact protocol she followed, let me ground this in the actual research, because I want you to be able to verify every claim I just made. Study 1, University of Mississippi Medical Center, published in the journal Cancer Letters. Researchers treated 3 separate human pancreatic cancer cell lines, one of the most drug-resistant cancers known, with thymoquinone. Compared to controls, cancer cell growth decreased by over 80% within 72 hours. That study also examined tumor models in mice. The thymoquinone-treated subjects showed a 55% reduction in tumor volume over a 4-week period. Study 2, King Abdul Aziz University in Saudi Arabia, published in Phytomedicine. This is the study I mentioned earlier. In controlled trials with human bone marrow cells, thymoquinone produced approximately a 3-fold increase in stem cell colonies over a 14-day period. This is the study underlying the 300% regeneration figure. Study 3, Cairo University in Egypt, published in Phytotherapy Research. This one matters because it was an actual human clinical study, not a cell culture, not an animal model. 40 patients with early-stage colorectal cancer, already on a standard oncology protocol, were randomized to receive either 2 grams of thymoquinone standardized black seed oil daily or a placebo alongside their treatment. After 12 weeks, the thymoquinone group showed significantly lower tumor growth markers, reduced inflammation, and a measurably improved immune function profile. 40 patients, real humans, colorectal cancer, 12 weeks. This is exactly the kind of cancer Margaret had. Study 4, University of Heidelberg in Germany, published in Oncotarget. This one examined thymoquinone against breast cancer cell lines. The researchers described thymoquinone as operating through a mechanism comparable to synthetic anti-cancer drugs currently in clinical development, but without the associated toxicity. Study 5, a systematic review published through the National Institutes of Health. This is the big one. It analyzed 133 published studies on Nigella Sativa. It concluded that thymoquinone demonstrated anti-cancer activity against 19 different cancer types in peer-reviewed research. The review specifically called for increased funding of Phase 2 and Phase 3 human clinical trials. I want you to hold that in your mind. 133 studies, 19 cancer types, a formal call from NIH researchers for more funding, and your oncologist has most likely never mentioned it. Not because they are hiding it from you, because nobody paid for the human trials that would put it in the guidelines, because a seed cannot be patented. Let me pause here for 1 second. If this information feels important to you, if you are learning something you wish your doctor had explained, just tap the like button. It takes no effort, but it tells the algorithm to send this to someone else who is searching for answers they cannot find in a 10-minute appointment. Now back to Margaret. She started her protocol on a Monday. I will never forget her first message to me. It came on day 4. She wrote, "Dr. Liana, I am not going to make it through this. The taste is awful. My stomach is unsettled. I feel bloated every morning. My husband thinks I am being dramatic, but I want to quit. Here is what I want you to understand. What Margaret felt in her first week is what nearly everyone feels. And it is the exact reason most people quit before the protocol can do its work. The taste is sharp, slightly bitter, peppery. It is not a smoothie ingredient. It is a medicine. The gut reaction is also normal. Your digestive system is adjusting to a compound that activates repair pathways. That is a lot of cellular activity starting at once. I told Margaret 3 things that night. Number 1, the taste gets easier around day 9. Your palate adjusts. Number 2, the digestive flutter almost always settles by the end of week 1. If it does not settle by day 10, you call your doctor and the dose comes down. Number 3, do not quit before week 3. That is when the body tells you something is changing. Margaret pushed through, and I will tell you what happened to her in a few minutes. Now let me give you the exact protocol. Every dose, every timing choice, every warning you need to know. Method 1, black seed oil, 1 teaspoon twice daily. This is the most concentrated delivery. Look for cold-pressed, unrefined black seed oil, coming from a real harvest date, not something sitting in a warehouse for 2 years. Take 1 teaspoon with your first meal of the day, usually around 7 in the morning or 8 in the morning. Take 1 teaspoon with your last meal of the day, around 6 in the evening or 7 in the evening. Take it with food that contains some fat. Eggs, avocado, olive oil. The fat triples how much of the active compound your body absorbs. Now, I need to be crystal clear about black seed oil safety. If you are taking blood pressure medication, black seed oil can lower your blood pressure further. Talk to your doctor before you start. You may need a lower dose of your medication over time. Never adjust your medication on your own. If you are on blood thinners like warfarin or daily aspirin, talk to your doctor first. Black seed oil has mild platelet effects. It can add to what the medication is already doing. If you are currently in active chemotherapy or radiation, do not start this without your oncologist's approval. Some compounds can interfere with drug metabolism. Your oncology team needs to know everything you are putting in your body. If you are pregnant, do not take black seed oil. It has shown uterine contracting effects in animal studies. Start with half a teaspoon once a day for the first 3 days, then build up to the full dose. If you feel lightheaded, dizzy, or your blood pressure drops below 90/60, stop immediately and call your doctor. Okay, method 2, whole seeds, 1 gram per day, lightly cracked. If you prefer whole seeds over oil, buy organic Nigella Sativa seeds. Use a mortar and pestle to lightly crack them before you eat them. Cracking the outer shell dramatically increases absorption. Without cracking, most of the active compound passes through you undigested. 1/3 of a teaspoon of cracked seeds equals roughly 1 gram. Sprinkle them on plain yogurt, eggs, avocado, anything with fat. The same warnings apply as for the oil. If you are on medication, talk to your doctor first. Method 3, the morning combination, black seed oil and raw honey. Several published studies have looked at the synergistic effect of thymoquinone combined with the compounds in raw honey. Taken together, they work cooperatively better than either taken alone. Half a teaspoon of black seed oil stirred into 1 teaspoon of raw, unprocessed honey. Take it first thing in the morning, before coffee, before food. Warning here: if you are diabetic or pre-diabetic, talk to your doctor before adding honey to your morning routine. It is still sugar, even raw honey. Method 4. Standardized capsules, 500 milligrams twice daily. For those who cannot handle the taste of the oil, capsules are a valid option. Look for the thymoquinone percentage on the label. Minimum half of 1%. Ideally, 1% or above. Products without standardization may contain very little active compound. Do not just grab any black seed capsule from the shelf. Warning: capsules can mask the signal that something is wrong. If you feel unwell after starting, you might not connect it to the capsule. Oil gives you a clearer signal. Capsules hide it. Pay closer attention during the first 2 weeks. Method 5. Cooking with whole seeds. Dry toast whole seeds in a pan for 90 seconds. Sprinkle them on roasted vegetables. Add them to hummus. Mix them into grain dishes. This is not your therapeutic dose. The heat reduces the active compound, but it keeps the habit alive on days you do not feel like taking the oil. Method 6. The broccoli synergy. Research from the University of Pennsylvania identified a cooperative interaction between thymoquinone and sulforaphane. Sulforaphane is the primary anti-cancer compound in broccoli, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts. When thymoquinone and sulforaphane are present together, the effect on cancer cells is approximately 70% stronger than either one alone. 3 or 4 nights per week, pair your black seed oil protocol with 1 cup of lightly steamed broccoli. Steamed for exactly 3 to 4 minutes. That preserves the enzyme that produces sulforaphane. Never microwave, never boil, steam only. Warning here: if you have a history of thyroid problems, talk to your doctor about cruciferous vegetables. For most people, they are safe, but high doses can interfere with thyroid function in sensitive individuals. Now, here is the part nobody tells you. Let me give you a realistic picture of what to expect week by week. Because if you do not know what is coming, you will quit before the protocol works. Week 1. The adjustment week. The taste is sharp. Your stomach feels different. You may feel more tired than usual. This is not failure. This is your body responding to a new input. Push through. Week 2. Stabilization. The taste becomes familiar. Your digestion settles. Most people notice their morning energy feels different first, not dramatically, just cleaner. Week 3. This is where most of my patients call me. Excited, confused, because something is shifting but they cannot describe what. Skin looks different. Sleep feels deeper. Joints feel quieter. The cellular work is underway. Week 4 and beyond. This is when the real changes are happening. The cellular work, the immune balancing, the slow repair. You will not feel most of it directly, but it is happening. 90 days. This is the minimum. The Cairo University trial was 12 weeks. The stem cell research was 14 days in a dish. But your body is a whole system navigating daily life. Give it 90 days before you judge the protocol. I know that sounds like a long time. Ask yourself this: is 90 days of consistency worth what it could protect you from? Let me give you 4 insider tips from years of watching patients do this. Tip 1. Quality is everything. The active compound degrades with heat, with light, with oxygen. Look for oil that is cold-pressed, stored in dark glass, with a harvest date printed on the bottle. If it smells rancid rather than sharp, the compound has oxidized. Refrigerate after opening. Tip 2. Black pepper dramatically increases absorption. The compound in black pepper inhibits the liver enzymes that rapidly break down thymoquinone. Adding 1/4 teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper to your meal, taken alongside the oil, extends how long the compound stays active in your bloodstream. This is the same principle as black pepper with turmeric. It works. Tip 3. Combine with intermittent fasting if it suits your life. There is published research on both thymoquinone and intermittent fasting as separate activators of cellular cleanup. When your body has cleared out damaged cellular debris through a 14-hour fasting window, and you then take black seed oil as your first input, you are priming the environment for stronger results. Only do this if fasting fits your life and your health. If you are on diabetes medication or have a history of disordered eating, do not fast without your doctor's guidance. Tip 4. Consistency beats intensity. The research measures outcomes over 8 to 16 weeks minimum, not over days. This is infrastructure work. Your body is laying down new capacity over months. The patients who see the most significant results are the ones who made this a non-negotiable daily practice. Not sporadic, not occasional, daily. Now let me save you from the 4 most common mistakes I see. Mistake 1. Buying the wrong product. Most people search online. Buy whatever has the most reviews. Never look at the thymoquinone content. A product can legally be labeled black seed oil with almost no active compound inside. The fix: look for the percentage on the label. Half of 1% minimum. 1% is better. Third-party tested is best. Mistake 2. Expecting results in 2 weeks. I have had people tell me they tried black seed oil, did not feel different after 14 days, and quit. 2 weeks is not enough time for cellular changes to show. The Cairo trial was 12 weeks. The fix: commit to 90 days before judging. Mistake 3. Taking it alone and expecting everything. Black seed oil is not a standalone cure for anything. The strongest research comes from bodies that are also getting adequate sleep. Moderate movement. A diet with actual vegetables. It amplifies a foundation. It cannot be the foundation. Mistake 4. Heating the oil. I have had readers tell me they put black seed oil in their cooking pan. Well-intentioned, counterproductive. The active compound degrades above 120 degrees Fahrenheit. The fix: always take the oil raw. Drizzle it over food after cooking, never during. Okay, Margaret, I told you I would come back to her. She pushed through week 1, barely. Her husband later told me she drank it standing over the sink the first 3 days because she expected to gag. She pushed through week 2. The taste became tolerable. Then normal. By day 12, she said she had stopped noticing it. At week 6, her energy returned. Not the cautious energy of someone recovering from chemotherapy. Her real energy. The energy she had before cancer. At 3 months, her blood markers were stable. Her inflammation levels had dropped. Her oncologist noted the improvement at her next follow-up and asked her what she was doing. She told him everything. He did not dismiss her. He did not endorse her. He said, "Whatever you are doing, keep doing it." At 6 months, her scans were clean. Still. At 18 months, still clean. Margaret is now 4 years out from her original diagnosis. She takes her black seed oil every single morning with her husband, who started taking it too, just in case. I want to be careful here. Margaret's results were excellent. Yours may be different. Everyone responds differently. What the research shows is that many people see meaningful improvement. Not everyone, not overnight, and not as a replacement for medical care. But Margaret got her agency back. That matters as much as any number on a lab report. She said something to me at her last visit that I want you to hear. She said, "Dr. Liana, I finally feel like my body and I are on the same team." That is the feeling this information is really about. Let me bring everything together. Today, you have learned something most people watching this video did not know an hour ago. You have learned that a single seed sitting in grocery stores has been studied in over 2,000 peer-reviewed papers. You now understand how stem cells rebuild your body. You understand 3 pathways this seed uses to fight cancer. You know exactly how to use it. You know who should not use it. You know what to expect week by week. You know more than 99% of people your age. The question is no longer whether the information exists. The information is in your hands. The question is what you do with it. Your body is not waiting passively for something to go wrong. Right now, this moment, your cells are making decisions. Your stem cells are attempting repair. Your immune cells are scanning for anything unusual. Your anti-tumor pathways are trying to intercept any abnormal cluster before it becomes dangerous. These systems belong to you. What determines how well they function is not your age. It is what you choose to put into your body every single day. The forgotten seed I have described today is not magic. It is biology. Biology that has been measured and mapped and verified in hundreds of studies. Now I need to tell you something I discovered this year that changes everything. Next week, I am releasing a video about 5 specific foods that activate what researchers call autophagy, your body's cellular recycling system. When you combine those 5 foods with the protocol I just gave you, something remarkable happens that researchers are calling a regenerative cascade. Most people have no idea it is even possible, and one of those 5 foods is something you probably ate in the last 24 hours, without knowing what it was doing inside you. Make sure you are subscribed so you do not miss it. And before you go, I need to ask you 2 things. First, if you watch this whole video, type the words, "I finished," in the comments. That simple act helps this video reach others who need this information but have not found it yet. Second, share this with one person, not 10. 1. Your spouse, your sister, your best friend, your father. Anyone in your life who has faced cancer, who is watching a parent's health decline, or who is simply doing everything they can to stay ahead of disease. 1 in 2 people will receive a cancer diagnosis in their lifetime. That person may already be in your contacts list. They may be waiting for this information without knowing it exists. You now have it. Send it to them today, not tomorrow, today. I will see you in the next video.